All right, Mike, let's switch it up. You look happy, and I will look all serious when we start the video. I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, jam! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TMP Nerf Report. There weren't nerfs exactly. Not exactly, but we do have the Hall of Fame rearing its ugly head, which is sort of a nerf.
Neutral head.
It's
Homely head.
home. Yes. So I'm Chewie. That's Mike. You can tell which one is Mike because he has a worse camera but a better beard,
Yes.
and he's very humble about it. So
I'm just agreeing with you. I'm just trying to be supportive.
uh-huh.
Hmm.
So yes, this is where anytime there are nerfs in Hearthstone, we have to tell you about them and try to make some sense of them. And so that's what we're gonna do, shall we?
Yes, let's shall.
So a few days ago, they announced the Year of the Dragon. And with the Year of the Dragon, the new year starting, that's when they do the Hall of Fame thing. The Hall of Fame is where they take cards from Standard.
Hmm.
Well, before now, they were all from the Basic and Classic set. Cards that were just too
Right.
good to always be in Standard because they're in the Basic and Classic set.
Right.
And move them to Wild only. But
Yeah. And they would move the oldest sets from the previous standard into wild as well.
yeah, the normal Standard rotation also happens at
Hmm.
the same time. So this is an addition to the rotation essentially. And like I said, up to this point, it's always been cards that were in the Basic and Classic set because they don't want to have a rotating set, no matter how much Brian Kibler yells at them. They don't want to have a rotating like core set like Magic does.
Mm.
They would rather just have the Basic and Classic set be where they set the identity of each class and then let the expansions expand on that. But they did too good a job with the Basic and Classic sets. So some of those cards are just too good and they need to get out of Standard for various reasons. Like the Molten Giant and Ice
Ice block
Block. There we go. I was like, oh no, it's been so long since I played with either one, I forget.
and power overwhelming and
Yep.
some other things I can't think of right now.
Yeah, it's just things that are generally too good
Hmm.
for where they want Hearthstone to be this day and age. So, at the beginning of each new rotation year, which usually happens in April, I think it's always happened in April thus far. Uh,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, with the Standard rotation, they have the Hall of Fame, and this year is no different. So we're going to tell you about those. You ready? Let's go. First up, we've got these three from the classic set: Naturalize, Doomguard, and Divine Favor. So that's a Druid, and a Warlock, and a Paladin card.
Right.
So they've got a little write up here about each one. Naturalize, one of their big weaknesses is they're really not great at removing a single large minion.
Druids, that is. Naturalize is very good at that, but Druid isn't supposed to be.
I meant to say Druid. Yeah, my bad. Druids aren't supposed to be that great at doing that. And Naturalize is 1 mana, kill that minion right there. The rest, your opponent draws 2 cards, used to be a drawback. These days, it just means I kill you faster in Fatigue.
Hmm.
And, like, they say that it nullifies that weakness, giving Druids a powerful option in matchups where card advantage doesn't matter. And matchups where card advantage doesn't matter means Fatigue, or I'm just trying to draw my entire deck and kill you with a stupid Mecha
Yeah.
or a stupid
Or
Togwaggle or a
I
stupid
was
whatever.
about to say Malagos or Cthulhu or Togwaggle.
Yeah, those are the 2 big ones and Malagos currently. So they're just axing Naturalize, moving it to the Hall of Fame, and honestly, I'm good with that. Yeah, like Stark just said in chat. Remember when Naturalize was garbage? Naturalize was garbage for a long, long time. Unless you were trying to build the Mill Druid deck, which, even when it was at its best, was still not good. And I know, because I played the hell out of it. But now that...
Or unless there were environments where there were big minions that were really prevalent that really needed to be killed right away.
Yeah, and even in those cases, the drawback was actually a drawback. Like, it's either I give my opponent 2 cards or this just kills me. But that's not even the case these days. It's just when you're trying to empty your deck and play Togwaggle, Naturalize is a huge 1-mana buff that makes those decks stupidly powerful. How many times, Mike, have you died because they had both Naturalizes?
Quite a number.
Exactly. So, get rid of Naturalize. I'm cool with that, even though Togwaggle is rotating out, right? Yeah, because Kobolds and Catacombs is rotating.
So. Yeah.
It's Journey to Ungoro, Knights of the Frozen Throne, Kobolds and Catacombs are the 3 that are rotating. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I'm cool with this because Mecha'thun is still a thing, and Malygos is always a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although... Yeah, in the Malygos decks, it's more of a, oh god, please don't kill me before I draw my combo.
Right.
Where it's slightly more okay. But whatever, they're getting rid of it, which means they can print things like Togwaggle. I hope they don't. But they can print things that do nonsense like that, and it's okay, and Druid won't take it and run away with it like it has in the past.
Mm-hmm.
As easily, anyway. So no problem. Next up, Doomguard. And I'm not going to lie, this one hurts me a little bit. Because I love me some Doomguard.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Like, Warlock decks for the last... Well, ever since Knights of the Frozen Throne have involved getting out Doomguard, having Doomguard die, and then bringing them back with Gul'dan. Or getting out Doomguard... Yeah. And then cubing it, and then killing the cube with something.
Right. Or getting it from, the cultist guy. Just pulling it straight out of the deck.
Or just pull, yeah. Because as they've said, and we've said many times, charge is just dumb in a game with no blocking. And if you don't happen to have a taunt, then charge is just guaranteed face damage or guaranteed removal on a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And... Doomguard, because it cost 5 and had that discard 2 cards battle cry, which is huge, or at least it was, Doomguard was sort of okay and didn't get hit with any of the nerfs or whatever that affected other charge minions.
Yeah, but it stayed pretty strong because, 5 is a lot, and because it's a 5/7, it's not just going to hit once. If it only hits once, that means it's also going to eat some serious minions or removal spells from your opponent because they don't want it to hit twice.
Exactly. So, now before we had the Recruit and the Cube and Gul'dan, Doomguard was just like the finisher in Zudex.
Yeah.
And I think without Gul'dan... What's that cube from?
Either Journey to Ungoro because it's a weird monster, or from Kobolds and Catacombs because it's vaguely D&D themed.
It's from Kobolds and Catacombs, okay.
Okay.
So when those rotate, it's possible that Doomguard would go back to being just the finisher in Zudex.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of the ways to get it out quickly or get it back are just... or to replicate it with the cube are just sort of gone. But we don't know what's in the new set.
Yeah, and they might be doing this preemptively because they're still just trying to cut down on the number of just strong charge creatures in the classic set.
Correct.
Because charge is kind of broken.
because charge is kind of broken. So, while I love Doomguard, I think my favorite Warlock class of recent, the last year or so has been Evenlock. So I don't even get to play it all that often. So, man, whatever. But
But if you played Oddlock, you could play Doomguard and tap for free. Wouldn't that be amazing? I don't think I've ever seen an Oddlock deck. I've never been matched up against one.
no. Shut up, Mike. But
Kind of surprised.
it's probably because there's not enough other stuff to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And actually,
Probably
they've
like
managed.
no removal on Odd for Warlock, now that I think about it.
Yeah. And they've managed to make the whole taking damage thing vital to Warlock's identity. So
Yeah, that's true.
they say here that it's they acknowledge and embrace the class's weaknesses when the Warlock loses control of the board. So they're getting rid of Doomguard because it's good at taking back the board, which pushes against the Warlock's class identity.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like some spin to me.
Yeah, no. I mean, games need catch-up features. Doomguard isn't, like you said, it's a finisher for Zoo decks. It's not really meant to be a board control card anyway, or shore up the board control strategy, unless you're really in an emergency.
Yeah. I think it's personally, I feel like their deal is it's more of an abusable thing to get back 5 damage with charge.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't even mention that here, which is a little weird to me, but whatever. All right.
Well, I mean, they also specifically mentioned they want to give Warlock less burst damage.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. We want to limit the amount of damage a Warlock can deal from their hand.
Oh, there it is. Hey, look at that. I didn't even see that.
So I guess they're saying that if a Warlock loses control of the board, they shouldn't be able to up and win out of nowhere.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, they're saying if a Warlock loses control of the board, they should be kind of boned.
Or have to use a Hellfire or a Twister or something.
Or need to really work to take it back,
Yeah.
And then win.
And then
After they got things under control again.
I gotcha. Makes sense, sorta. I still think it's more of the this is too combo-y, but
Uh-huh.
oh well. Last card of this first batch is Divine Favor. And Divine Favor is the reason that we've had so many super aggressive Paladin decks in the last ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can vomit out their entire hand and then just Divine Favor to draw 4, 5, 6 cards for how much does it cost?
3.
Yeah. And that's ridiculous.
I don't know. I must be playing those aggressive Paladin decks wrong because Divine Favor never works for me, but it always works brilliantly for my opponents. So I think that's just a failing on my part.
It sounds like it, yeah. But he still has the better beard, so. Yeah, it says card draw doesn't need to be one of Paladin's strengths. And yeah. Nobody's talking to you. The robot lady just was like, sorry, I don't know that one. What? Damn it, woman. That completely threw me. I have no idea what I was about to say. Right, they have printed a few cards that are situational Divine Favors, like the one that says draw 2 or 3 1-drops or 1 cost or 1 power guys or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or that recruit thing, they get some sheep minions.
Yeah, Call to Arms.
Mm-hmm.
But Divine Favor is just pure gas, because it's... And even if your opponent only has like 2 or 3 cards in hand, it's still draw 2 or 3 cards in a super aggro deck. I'd play that.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 cards is still way less than you usually get. I'm going to guess that like the average is 4 in recent times when there are lots of these combo-y and control-y cards running, or decks running around.
Mm-hmm. It's probably close.
Yeah. So, to limit the power of these hyper-aggressive decks to refill their hand again, they're moving it to the Hall of Fame. And I'm good with this. You good with this, Mike?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I think it'll be fine. And hey, now you can stop putting Divine Favor in your decks and having it not work for you.
Nice.
Which is a buff. Hey! All right, so next up are the surprises. Sort of. I mean, this is a thing they've never done before, but I think it had to be done. They are moving Gen and Baku to the Hall of Fame. And I love Gen and Baku. I have so many odd and even decks right now.
They're awesome. Let's
see. Without looking, I've got Even Lock. I've got like 2 or 3 different odd mages, 2 of which are very similar. The third one is a more control-y, like, big spell version.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play odd rogue when I needed rogue wins. I used to play even shaman when that was feasible. And I know there's more. Oh, I have an odd paladin deck now that Level Up has rotated, so it's not as busted. Not rotated. Been nerfed. Excuse me. It rotated its way out of the odd paladin decks. And I know there's more. There have been lots more, but none off the top of my head. But so the problem with Gen and Baku is that they warp the entire game.
Right.
Around your hero power. Like, the Even Lock deck is awesome, but it's all about that single cost hero power. And it's the same with Odd Mage, especially once they printed Channel Eye to make Odd Mage even feasible to play. It gives you a reason to play Odd Mage. And, like, Odd Rogue was all about that 2/2 dagger, because that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And Odd Paladin is all about just constantly getting 2 guys at a time. Just boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Like, for 7 mana, you can make your Fungal Mancer perfectly fine from an empty board, which is ridiculous. And it was only a problem with certain decks. Like, the Odd Paladin was a problem, because the ability to constantly refill is just really, really good. And that's why even after they got rid of Level Up from that deck, the deck is still really strong. But the problem is there's just no way to fix these that makes any sense.
Stark brought up the comedy option in chat. They could just do like they always do with these nerfs and add 1 to their mana costs.
So that they never work?
Exactly.
Nice. But, I mean, let's face it, as a minion, Baku the Moon Eater and Gen Greymane are not great.
No.
Like, you never are happy on a turn when you drop Baku the Moon Eater. And you're never happy on the turn where you... Well, okay, I think Gen is slightly better.
Yeah, because it only costs 6.
Yeah, and you can still do other stuff. But it's still not great. And there's the deck building thing, where you have to build your deck with only even or odd cards, which is a limitation, to be sure. That's why we don't play Doomguard and even lock decks. If we could... Oh, totally! Straight up! Yes. Without blinking. Put those in.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and they bring with them major design constraints for all the sets that would follow them while they were still in Standard. Because the team, they wouldn't be able to focus on just making the set good. They'd also have to see, do we really want the even whatever deck to have this? Do we really want the odd whatever deck to also be able to do this where it couldn't before?
Yeah. Oh god, if this costs 3, then that means Odd Paladin gets it. But if it costs 4,
Yeah.
it's garbage.
Exactly.
Ah. So it's also limiting design space, which doesn't apply to us, but it does apply to Blizzard themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was saying, that deck building limitation doesn't offset how good these upgraded or cheaper hero powers are for the
No.
decks that they're really good, which again,
Yeah.
that's like Warlock, Mage, Paladin especially. You don't really see even or odd Hunter. You don't really see...
Mm-mm.
Actually, those are the only ones I've seen lately. Like, you don't see even or odd Priest, even though it got a support card.
Yeah. Maybe they're even our odd druid doesn't really happen, even though it got a support card. I think that's
Kibler
why
tried
they
to
got
make odd Druid work for a while.
yeah. I made one too. It was basically a crummy odd rogue deck, but it was fun.
So let's see what Blizzard has to say about this. Yep.
Shaman got the even bonus card, but I guess they didn't appreciate how good the hero power was at 1.
Yeah,
I
especially
mean,
with...
every hero power as is, basic hero power, is worthwhile, but not all that great. If you have the chance, most of the time you'd much rather play a card than use the hero power for something.
Except Warlock.
Except Warlock, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But the cheapened and upgraded versions of those hero powers are ridiculous.
Yeah. But only if there are enough cards to fill a deck to support the deck building limitation.
That's true.
Like,
if the
even
deck
an
is
odd
complete
Hunter...
crap, then yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even an odd Hunter have popped up here and there and been attempted, but they've never really been meta.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the support cards just aren't there, really.
Mm-hmm.
So... But when the support cards are there enough to build us a normal workable deck, yeah, they're really good. So what they say is they've promoted new strategies since their introduction in the metagame. Those strategies have been more prevalent than we'd intended in Standard. And we felt they might end up overshadowing what we're going to introduce in the Year of the Dragon. In other words, these are so good that they're afraid that the new sets won't matter. Sort of like when it comes to Standard, the Boomsday project didn't do terribly much to Standard.
Yeah.
It had added a few cards here and there. It made Odd Warrior. Oh, Warrior. We missed that one. It made Odd Warrior. It gave Odd Warrior a lot more options, but it didn't shake anything up, really. The same decks that were good before that were good after that.
Mm-hmm.
In order for set rotation to breathe new life into Standard and maintain overall health of the latter, we're rotating Baku and Gen into the Hall of Fame a year earlier than normal. And they also screwed up when they printed Baku and Gen by putting them in the first set of the year. Had they put them in the last set of the year, I think each of the sets would have had a bigger impact on Standard, but
That's a good point.
Boomsday didn't really do much because we already had an established thing that was super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's rough. But what you gonna do? You're gonna move him to the Hall of Fame. Now, if we go back to other ways they could have fixed it, I think Brian Kibler has done like 2 or 3 freaking videos on the Omnistone channel about this.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no good way to do it that doesn't just completely bone the whole reason to play the cards.
Uh-huh. I can't think of anything that wouldn't just make them pointless.
Yeah, like you could make them both like an 11 and 12 cost card so that you actually can't play them, but no one cares because it's a 7/8 and a 6/5, whatever. Like you could make them a 9 and 8 and 6 mana 0/0 so that you play them and they die, but that's the same thing. They're just pointless and dumb because the card itself doesn't matter. It's the hero power. You could make it like a quest so that they start in your opening hand and then you get the buff. But
Someone mentioned in chat the idea, it was Pinball Witch, that they start in your hand and like a quest, but they have a battle cry that makes that happen. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that makes them completely
Just-
not worth building around.
Justiciar True Heart was cool, but I wouldn't warp my deck to put Justiciar True Heart in it.
He's talking about the 6/3. Was it for 6? 5?
Yes, 6.
Yeah, that originally when the battle cry was upgrade your hero power. That was neutral, so you could play it in every deck if you wanted to, and it was really cool. And it uses those same upgraded hero powers. But yeah, then you really invalidate the whole thing and make no one want to play them.
Right.
Because unless you make Baku and Gen cost 1 apiece, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like to have to wait to turn 9 to get the upgraded hero power, the game's almost over. So, like, there are a lot of ways they could have changed them that would have fundamentally altered the way they work, and Blizzard doesn't like to do that if at all possible. And so the easiest thing to do was just kick them out into the Hall of Fame. That way they still work functional. They still function as intended, but only in Wild. Which is fine. I guess. We'll find out. I'm going to miss playing my Gen and Baku decks once the rotation happens, but I'm not going to miss playing against them. And that's how it is for every other car or every other deck I ever have when a rotation happens. So I'm fine with that, actually.
Yeah. They're cool cards, but I really like your thought that maybe they should have saved them for the last set of the year.
I mean, that's not my thought. But
So they wouldn't just... Well, I mean, the thought you expressed. How about that? So
Yeah,
they wouldn't
that way,
just make everything that came after them
exactly.
kind of dumb.
That's 2/3 of a year of stagnation because they introduced these super powerful things first. And Standard really does tend to get in a rut once it gets solved.
Yeah, once the super powerful thing shows up.
Yeah. And once everyone figures out what that super powerful thing is, it just sort of slows to a crawl. Thanks to things like the Hearthstone Deck Tracker website and the like the Vicious Syndicate meta reports and stuff like that. You just go, hey, what should I play? Here's all the stuff that's doing well. Cool, I'll play one of those. And there's no need to innovate or anything like that. But to go with Baku and Gen moving, they're also getting rid of all of the odd and even support cards. The Gloomstag, Black Cat, Glittermoth, and Merkspark Eel. Which makes perfect sense, because there's no reason to... I mean, I guess technically they could leave them in Standard, but they would literally see no play except for someone really trying to meme hard.
Yeah.
So... I think this is just a logical thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what kind of bonus Glittermoth was associated with. I can't read it at this resolution. Was that an even reward card or an odd reward card?
Odd.
Odd?
Because it costs 5.
Oh.
And you double the health of your other minions when as its battle cry. All right, well that's it for the Hall of Fame. Now remember, they do the thing, as they do every year with Hall of Fame, where for each of these cards that are rotating, you will get full dust equivalents of the most valuable version you have.
Yeah, you just get it.
Yeah, they're not... It's not like you can dust them for the full value. You just get it. So if you have, again, an Abaku, you will get 2 legendaries worth of dust, which is awesome. If you have a golden either or, let's say you have a golden Gen, you will get the full dust value of the golden one, but not of the non-golden one. So whatever the most valuable versions up to the maximum are. So if you've got a golden legendary, you'll get the 3200
Yes.
dust for the golden one. And for like Black Cat, if you've got 2 regular Black Cats, you'll get 2 commons worth of dust. If you've got 2 golden Black Cats, you'll get 2 goldens worth of dust. If you've got 1 of each, you'll get 1 of each worth of dust. It doesn't stack. You don't get the 2 golden and the 2 normal. So that's it for Hall of Fame stuff. But there's more, as there always is in these Year of the Whatever announcements. So now we're getting new single-player stuff. And they're taking both a new and an old approach to it. So back in the day, you got adventures, right?
Right.
And adventures came out 1 wing at a time every week.
Mm-hmm.
And you could pay 700 gold or cash. I think it was $20, right? Just to get the whole thing.
Yeah, it was $20. It was $20 for the whole thing.
And
Otherwise, it was $700
per wing.
700 gold per wing.
Right. And as you beat each fight, you got cards from that adventure, because adventures were essentially smaller sets in the old days. Well, then they got rid of adventures and just started releasing more sets. And then they wanted more solo single-player content, so that's when we got the Dungeon Run as the first one. Right? That was the first one?
Yes, it was.
And then we got the Monster Hunt, and then the Boomsday Project, Puzzle Lab, and then the Rumble Run. That's been everything, right?
Yes.
There was also the fighting against the Lich King.
Oh, yeah, the Lich King. That's right.
And I think there was something in Journey to Ungoro, too.
Yeah, but I can't remember what it was in Journey to Ungoro.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Wasn't there something?
I thought there was, because I thought they made that announcement about what they were going to do before Journey to Ungoro came out.
Oh. Okay, Pinboy said no, Journey was the one without.
Okay.
Oh, when they made that announcement, they said it's going to be starting with the second set this year.
You're right. I remember that now.
Yeah,
You're right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The single-player stuff, ever since then, has just been something you can play. Like the something runs were Dungeon Run, Monster Hunt, and Rumble Runs were essentially a roguelike game that played within Hearthstone. And I loved the Dungeon Run and the Monster Hunt. They were freaking awesome. Yeah. I would probably love the Rumble Run now that they've done some balancing. I just haven't gone back to play it yet. But like I said, I just haven't gone back to do it yet because I hated it the first time I played it. I streamed it for like 3 hours and got done, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. So... But anyway, that's all well and good, but it doesn't do anything. Like, the Lich King was awesome because once you beat all of the fights and then beat the Lich King with every class, you got that Arthas hero.
Oh, yeah.
Which was freaking sick. So sick. And then with all the others, it's just been a card back. But it was fun. Like, if you beat the Dungeon Run with all 9 classes, you got the card back. And if you beat the Monster Hunt with all 4 classes and then beat the final encounter, you got the card back. And then with Rumble Run, if you beat it ever with anything ever, you get the card back, and there's really no reason to go back and play it again. Now, that's a problem. There's no reason, unless you just like it, to go back and play it again. There's no rewards of any sort.
Or unless the game throws a quest at you when you log on.
Yeah, and I always, as a rule, re-roll those every time. Always, but that's me.
I like doing those.
It's like, win 3 dungeon runs. I'm like, or you could just give me a good quest. But
it's an easy quest, Chewie.
I don't care about easy. I don't want to go back and play something that the only reward is 50 gold. Whatever. And that's one of their problems, is that attitude right there, is that once you're done with it, there's never any reason to go back. Like, even with the Rumble Run especially, I didn't feel the urge to like keep it like I did, because if you beat it once, you get the card back, and then everything else was just bookkeeping. Because there was no way to track what you've won with. I think they might have added that. I don't know.
And there's no real point to it.
And there's no real point to it, exactly. Other than just the experience of doing it, which isn't enough for the vast majority of people. And I know there's probably people in chat right now who are like, but I go back and play it, and that's awesome. Good. That's what they want. Yeah. But that's not for me. And that's me, and it's not for a lot of people. Which means it doesn't do anything for Blizzard. That's the important part. So now they're doing this bizarre mashup of old adventures and the new single player stuff where the first, so we don't know what the new set is called yet, but the first solo thing after that will pop out about a month after the first expansion. Okay. And you get the first chapter free. It doesn't say how often, but probably every week or so.
Mm-hmm.
They will unlock another chapter, which costs 700 gold, or you pay $20 and get all of them. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you like opening booster packs, then you should pay $20 for the whole thing. Otherwise, you're throwing 28 packs worth of gold into it, which I don't think is going to be worth it to you.
Yeah, if opening packs is your goal, then yeah, it probably won't be.
Mm-hmm.
But this is really cool because you get new characters to play as. It says so the free one, you get a new mage character, and it's got its own systems and mechanics and whatnot, and a non-combat tavern encounter where you get the opportunity to fine-tune your deck. We still don't know what that means.
Yeah,
and Mike and I talked about
thing in the image. There's that thing in the image that says friendly encounter, but I don't know. I don't know if that's just like a Hearthstone goldfish encounter or what.
I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, you start with mage, and each additional chapter, it says, unlocks 2 new characters, each with 3 hero powers and 4 starting decks to unlock. So there's progression. There's reasons to go back in and keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds awesome! Because I loved the dungeon run.
Yeah.
It was so great. But again, once you beat it with a class, there's no reason to go back and try it again unless you just really wanted to try to beat it with another build. And that could take several attempts because you don't always get the right build.
Yeah.
But now you are unlocking new characters, new hero powers, new starting decks. You get a way to craft your experience even more from the get-go instead of as you play. So you don't have to play those first 2 stupid fights that are easy and hard to lose. Not impossible. Hard to lose, and you have to do this before you can start crafting your deck in a way that you like. You get to start like that, and that's awesome. It's like taking a bog standard roguelike game, which they are, and adding new features. Yay! Yeah, now, after completing each chapter, which is the thing that costs 700 gold, you'll get 3 card packs from the new expansion, and if you complete all 5 chapters, you'll get a card back and a golden classic pack, which is really neat.
That is cool.
And here is the little thing that shows you what is in it. We've got anomaly mode, which sounds neat. Heroic mode, okay. Tavern encounters, okay. 9 new henchman heroes, 27 hero powers, which is 9 times 3. 36 starting decks, which is 9 times 4. 5 chapters, 75 bosses. You can track your victories, which is a nice touch.
Mm.
You can pause mid-game, which is an even nicer touch. You get something here called Zale Shadow Cloak, which we think, judging from the artwork, is this golden card right here. And we don't know if that's a golden version of a card that's in the new expansion, or if it's a separate thing like a buy-a-box promo in Magic. And they didn't mention it up here, which leads me to believe that it's probably not a separate card that's not available in the expansion. Or else they would have mentioned that because that's a selling point. 15 card packs and the golden pack. I'm all in, dude. As soon as this hits, they're getting my money. It's going to be fry.shutupandtakemymoney.jpg here. I'm happy about this. I got nothing. Like, I'm just super stoked for new and improved solo adventure. Now, there are some downsides to people who have to spend, like, now you have the choice, do I want to spend gold on packs or do I want to spend gold on the new wing? And that's kind of rough, especially since gold is, while it's less stingy, they're less stingy with gold than they were back in the day, it's still not just being dumped on you.
Right.
So that's a problem for, the free-to-play people who don't want to give any money to them. That's fine. I understand. And that's a bummer. But free-to-play people probably are the target audience, right? Like people who just play sort of casually and aren't hardcore into it. This gives you something to do other than go play on the ladder. Go play on the ladder. Go play on the ladder. Hey, play on the ladder.
Yeah.
Ladder!
Yeah, that's true.
So it's possible that this will just be where that gold goes now instead. Or maybe not, depending on your obviously these are general statements, not you, Steve, watching this. Not you. I don't know what you want. Blizzard does. Well, Blizzard does. They have access to everything you've ever done in Hearthstone. But you know what I mean. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Solo Adventure will unlock over the course of 4 weeks, beginning in May. Okay, so it is one a week. They're also going to change up Arena, which I forget that Arena exists because I don't ever play it. But in Arena, starting with Year of the Dragon, they're going to update it by rotating sets around twice every expansion. So the first rotation, when the Year of the Dragon starts, the Arena draft pool will contain the basic and classic sets, Curse of Naxxramas, Whispers of the Old Gods, and Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, Witchwood, and the first expansion of the year. Which is like, what? Because these are sets from every year of Hearthstone.
Yeah, that part where they said they're going to rotate it twice every expansion, I missed that the first time.
Yeah, so this is when Year of the Dragon, when the first set drops. Presumably halfway through that, they'll swatch it. They'll swatch it up again. They'll switch it up again by swapping out some of the sets for others. And that will make Arena more interesting over the long run, because then you don't get in the rut. Because again, because of data collection, there are just best ways to play Arena. You can get the software on your screen that just tells you, hey, here are your 3 cards. This is the one you should pick, idiot. This one, take this one. It's way better than the other 2, this one. And so Arena gets solved, less so than Standard because of its very nature. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very quickly. And so with more updates and swapping things out constantly, it'll just be new more frequently. Which is really cool. Not being an Arena player, I don't have any opinion past the concept. But it sounds awesome. I'm sure that Arena players are going to, complain or not. I have no idea. Mike doesn't play much Arena either, so we're both sort of just, I don't know.
No. I used to do it all the time, like back around when it was just basic, classic, and goblins versus gnomes and Naxxramas. I was still pretty good, but every time a new set got added to it, I got worse and worse and worse until I just gave up.
And that's pretty much what happened to me too. I haven't played since they've swapped out, like, it's not based on rarity anymore. It's based on like card ratings and whatnot. I've never experienced that. I think I've done free Arena runs when they give me a free one, like when they did the dual class one.
Oh yeah. I've done the free ones with the tickets.
Well. Yeah.
No, actually, the first dual class one they did, like, I actually made it all the way to the end, and before I had never done better than 7.
Yeah, I think I was streaming when you got that, maybe, or I was playing because I saw it pop up and I was like,
yeah.
It's like, Mike got 12 wins. Holy crap. So, all right, moving on. They're doing the pre-release thing at Fireside Gatherings again, where you can open your pre-order packs early. And there's some sort of thing that goes on. And this time they're opening it up to smaller pre-release parties with friends at home. But you still get all the perks. So if you don't feel like or can't, or there aren't any Fireside Gatherings around, you can still do the pre-release thing with, just your buddies by setting one up locally. I think. I don't actually know anything about how those work, but that's really cool. And also you'll soon be able to re-roll the legendary quests, the quests that come with special events and whatnot. Like in the animated GIF here, they're doing one from the Monster Hunt. Defeat 10 monsters with the tracker, which was a stupidly designed quest. It should have been 8. Because there were only 8 fights. Because I first tried one of those and had to go back in and do 2 more fights because I hadn't finished the stupid quest yet. I was not happy about that. But anyway, so that's a thing that if for some reason you just really don't like them, or if they're still there because you haven't played for a long time, I guess that works. I don't know. Then, yeah, there you go. You can re-roll them into something else. It's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then the best thing from this whole announcement, the random card back option.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Because if you're like us and you've been playing for a long time, then you've got a gazillion card backs just sitting there, not being used. And usually I will just set something I like as a favorite and then forget about it for several months. I used to set each deck with a card back that I liked that maybe went with a little bit, and I realized I don't like doing that either. So, so the random card back option will be my new go-to forever. It will just, when you start a game, it'll just have a random card back from your entire collection. And that's really cool. For something aesthetic that doesn't matter, that is like the primary, what's the word I'm looking for? Customization.
Oh yeah. Mm.
It doesn't get used all that often at least by us.
Right.
And I'm sure there are people who religiously change their card backs, but I think those people might be in the minority. So this is just really cool. Nice little touch. I love it.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through some serious crap to try to get card backs. Like, since he's in chat, at GP Charlotte, we were sitting in the hotel room after a night at GP Charlotte, and JT had a Samsung Galaxy. And I was like, hey man, can I log into Hearthstone and play some games on your phone so that I could get the free card back? And he's like, sure. And that's just dumb. For a thing that I'll never show off ever. So... And I think he got packs with that too, which made that one slightly more worth it. So thanks, JT. But like, that's weird. But now you can show them all off, whatever. They're also upgrading the deck builder, the autocomplete and the probably the suggestions.
Yeah.
So they say they're going to have more details to share at a later date, but they're gonna make it better. And it's going to better take your current card collection into consideration when filling out incomplete decks. Cool. Also, you get a golden hero count with arena wins, which is neat. And like I was saying to Mike before we started, so I'm currently 7 wins away from getting a golden priest, which means the race is on to get those 7 wins and stream it before, because I don't know if they're going to count old arena run wins. If so, I'll just open up Hearthstone and it'll be like, hey, you got a golden priest, and then that's a stream and some video content I don't have. Because I'm almost certain I have won a total of 7 games with priest since I started playing Hearthstone in arena. I'm fairly certain. Even if I only had a series of 2-win arena runs, I think I've done 4 2-win arena runs with Priest. So yeah, hey, for those of you that are like, man, I'm never gonna get these golden heroes. Well, now you're gonna get a buff to get there faster. And then finally, when they're doing this thing where logging in between March 25th and April 2nd, we'll give you 1 pack each from the 3 sets rotating Journey to Ungoro, Knights of the Frozen Throne, and Kobolds and Catacombs. And of course, we get the Tavern Brawl Year of the Mammoth thing, where it's going to be a constructed Tavern Brawl using only cards from those sets. So yay. So then, what do we feel about all of this stuff, Mike?
Feels pretty positive. It's a bit sad that Baku and Gen had get kicked out, but they were format and deck warping.
Yeah, and you can't warp the format and live.
Right.
And since the Nerf hammer wasn't really feasible in their case,
it wouldn't do anything to them.
Yeah, they had to upgrade to the ban hammer because it's essentially a ban.
Yeah.
Because they're essentially banned in standard now is really all that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But they have another word for that in Hearthstone, so you use that instead. What do we think, Mike? How do we wrap this up?
No, I don't have anything particularly insightful.
All right, are you looking forward to the Year of the Dragon?
Yes, I am. I'm always looking forward to new Hearthstone stuff. It's fun.
It is. I maintain that that's the best time to play Hearthstone, is in the 2 or 3 weeks after an expansion drops.
Mm-hmm.
Where nobody knows what's good, and all of the pro players and streamers are all, this card is terrible, and that card ends up being amazing because they still don't know how to do card evaluation after all these years. I can't wait. All right, well, that was the Year of the Dragon Nerf report. It's not really a Nerf report, but we always have to do it. Let us know what you guys think of the Hall of Fame changes and all of these other announcements. Are you looking forward to the single player stuff? Are you excited for the random card back? Because I am. And with that, we'll be done with this Nerf report. So, thank you, Mike, as always, for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
That's it from me, too. So, this has been the Nerf report. Thank you all so very much for watching, and go play some Hearthstone.